everybody. Hello, everybody. It's great to be here. My name is Okwemi Makanjola, and as Olamide had already done the introductions, it's good to be here, and I'm really proud that I'm going to be representing nonprofits. So I'm going to be welcoming Sean to take the first presentation to know all the juicy benefits Microsoft has in store for us, especially for we nonprofiters. The struggle to organize the nonprofit business is legendary. So when I saw the opportunities and the platforms presented, I was like, oh my God, I need to, bring this information out to as many nonprofits as possible. And I hope you thank me after this presentation. So Sean, the floor is yours.
Okay, well, hope everyone can hear me. Is that good? Can everyone hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, Sean, we can.
Okay, thank you very much. And big thank you to the Largetronics team and Olamide for that great introduction and for inviting us and me as a speaker for this interesting topic on Microsoft Cloud for Nonprofit. We truly believe that the success of the nonprofit and NGO sector is critical to how we achieve our mission with Largetronics in Nigeria in the nonprofit space. So to do this, we must make the benefits of world-class technology accessible, affordable, and relevant for nonprofits and NGOs and IGOs. And we should do this with the help of our TSI team and Largetronics put together. So let's start by looking at the digital-first mindset of nonprofits that have adopted and how Microsoft Cloud for Nonprofits help to address these market demands. With COVID-19 being the lead for technology innovation during the pandemic, we experienced levels of change that experts described as an evolutionary leap towards the digital transformation. And although that digital transformation has played a significant role in nonprofits' operating models and how they're now accelerating the shift to a digital-first mindset, so there is no question that the socio-economic impacts of COVID-19 will likely be felt for years to come by the nonprofit sector. Not only did organizations move 100% of their workers remote overnight, but they did also do this as donations and their revenues dried up and office closures happened and layoffs became the norm. So this all being the norm of happening, of course, the demand for social service is completely off the charts. So according to data published by a US-based publisher, so far in the United States alone, over 1 million people employed in nonprofit sectors have lost their jobs, and 7% of US-based nonprofits have closed their doors permanently. So even in Africa, over 70%, actually 74% of organizations have reported cancelled fundraising, which is not good. 52% a loss of earned income revenue, and another 40% declines in donations with the first few months of the pandemic. So even now, more than 2 years later, nonprofits still find themselves challenged by this new way of working and how to get fundraising and volunteer engagements on track to meet their mission needs. So we know technology isn't the only answer, but we also know that new models for incorporating digital technology into mission and operations are needed to weather the current storm and to assist with recovery as immediate crisis subsides. The Microsoft Cloud for Nonprofit leverages numerous investments. This includes CDM, Nonprofit Accelerator, and fundraising and engagements. Fundraising and engagement sits at its core. And the common data model is the backbone that supports a new modular architecture that lights up a bevy of new features while ensuring security for donor and program participant data is at the center of what we do. Cloud for Nonprofit signals our product engineering commitment to delivering innovation to the sector in the months and years to come. We will build solutions according to these priorities that we believe are common to all nonprofits, driving on intelligent constituent engagement, effective program delivery, and solutions that help you accelerate mission outcomes. It all begins with attracting, retaining, and growing a base of constituents, then being able to handle all the different ways supporters might give through individual donations, planned giving, gift in kind, some grants or recurring giving, and more. Many nonprofits operate with a very complex staffing model that leverages mainly on volunteers. Microsoft Cloud for Nonprofit helps organizations manage volunteers and enables them to collaborate and engage on the causes where they can make the most impact. That gets us to the program delivery. Is measuring impact. This is the core of any nonprofit. So by breaking down the silos across programs and operations, Microsoft Cloud for Nonprofit drives insight that accelerates mission efficacy and back office efficiency. So completing the entire circle, following the flow of funding from the initial gift through to program delivery and then to impact measurement helps nonprofits understand donor propensity and design personalized engagements to improve fundraising. It's a bold vision, but one that unlocks the power of Microsoft technologies. This is mainly ideal for mid-sized to enterprise nonprofits or across all subverticals, but also good for enterprise-minded organizations. Nonprofits considering updating and streamlining their legacy systems that don't talk to each other, especially, and nonprofits considering moving to the cloud and modernizing their data estate. Finally, nonprofits that want to move away from multi-year cycles and to move to a service model with continuous product updates and support. Microsoft Cloud for Nonprofit is our commitment to helping you achieve these three outcomes. Know your donors and supporters by aligning the program needs. We have an outcome of increased funding and further support for mission outcomes. Then deliver effective programming. Staff and volunteer empowerments are delivered via responsive programs based on community needs, and to definitely accelerate mission outcomes, connecting data from across the entire organization, all the endpoints that you have. So Microsoft is uniquely bringing together trusted cloud capabilities of the Microsoft stack and making a commitment to build out sector-specific solutions to drive relevance of the technology you use every day to drive faster time to value and measurable impact. This is a full picture of all the Microsoft Cloud for Nonprofit solutions and how we are enabling nonprofits in each of these priority scenarios. We spoke about the three outcomes being know your donor and supporters, delivering effective programming, and accelerate mission outcomes. So let's look at know your donors and supporters as the first pillar to our solution, which is very important. Fundraising and engagement is enabled by the use of Microsoft Dynamics Sales and Azure App Services. The sales navigation will be provided by LinkedIn, also owned by Microsoft. And constituent marketing is being handled by Dynamics Marketing. These tools all fall under the Microsoft Azure and Dynamics 365 category. So let's look at how we deliver this effective programming as the second pillar to our solution. Volunteer management and engagement by Microsoft Teams, Power Apps, Power Portal, and SharePoint. These tools all fall under the modern work category, which is basically your Microsoft 365 subscription consisting of Office applications, Power Apps, and Azure. And then lastly, an important pillar to our solution is accelerating mission outcomes. Insightful dashboards are made possible by Microsoft's Power BI Pro tools, a power tool to leverage data collected by your entire solution to steer the management of the organization based on the facts collected by AI and data. So we are uniquely bringing together trusted cloud capabilities across the Microsoft stack, and therefore building the sector specific by the solutions that we do. So together with this whole non-profit common data model, it brings together the entire solution that we are presenting to you today. So I'll now be handing over to you back to Makanjola to handle a further discussion around this topic.
Sorry, we can see you talking, but we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
Perfect. I was saying that I'm really excited about Sean's presentation, and also him mentioning about the COVID era. I think that was a drastic era for we non-profiters, because it was a struggle in terms of grant management. It was a struggle in terms of volunteer management. Everybody was indoors. So it's a good thing that the world is going virtual so that life goes on and impact also goes on, even when things are happening around. And before we go into Wajinku's presentation for us, I'm going to be asking everybody, especially if you're a nonprofit person, either a manager, a founder, or a volunteer, please go to the chat room. Let us hear what your biggest issues are regarding nonprofit management. I'm going to go first because I struggle with accounting severely. It's a pain for me. I would rather just run from it. But you know, we always report to grantors and they want to see your books. They want to see what you've been doing. And so if you don't get your books in order, it's going to be very difficult to even get future grant trust. So I think that's one for me, but I want everybody to fill those inboxes now and let us know, because Wanjinko is here, Sean is here. And if we have to send Microsoft right back to create new programs and softwares for us to even create more impact, that would be brilliant. So I have said mine and I have talked about the accounting bit. I think also we struggle with volunteer management because a lot of times we have like a huge volunteer base, and to keep track of what everybody is doing at different points can be quite a struggle. To also keep track on monitoring and evaluation of what our volunteers are doing is also a struggle. So Wajinko, I'm going to be passing the baton right to you to let us know, specific programs and specific packages that Microsoft has that we can relate with and we can also utilize to create more impact. Over to you, Wajinko.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the entire Lagetronics team for doing that introduction. Even as I just get on my video, I hope you can see my screen. Can you please confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Excellent, excellent. So you started an interesting conversation around, what Microsoft has done in the space of nonprofits and the way we are thinking about it. So we started off as Microsoft about 5 years ago with Microsoft Philanthropies in supporting nonprofits through grants, as well as financially how to solve some of the complex challenges that are being experienced globally around the world. And after interacting with the sector for about 3 years, Philanthropies decided to set up the Tech for Social Impact team, which sits within the Microsoft Philanthropies and helps nonprofits adopt our technology. And when we started off the journey, the aim was to understand, some of the technology needs that nonprofits have across the globe. And the starting point was understanding the NGO reference model, how the data structures are in among nonprofits, and develop a nonprofit common data model, which is like an open source platform generally accepted across all nonprofit organizations, and that happened in 2018. And for the last about 3 years, a lot has been invested to be able to develop solutions with the nonprofit common data model underlying it. So around fundraising and engagement of donors and supporters becomes a very important construct for nonprofits. Things like volunteers, how to manage and engage volunteers is very important. Program delivery, as well as accelerating mission outcomes, are such some of the applications that were very necessary, and it was important to have an underlying reference data model to be able to support that engagement. So until now, up until this year 2022, we've been building solutions that address that the industry. So some of the areas we think about when we engage with nonprofits around constituent management. And this is around, the beneficiaries that you're delivering your mission towards as nonprofits. How to track their data, how to track their profiles, relationships, history of engagement, and see how to build on top of that. So it's basically like an account, the same way, a commercial engagement would have an account where you prospect and you engage with them. So we see the same in nonprofits as they engage their beneficiaries. Another area is around fundraising, how to run campaigns together with your donors, and how to enable multi-channel marketing with them to be able to give them new opportunities for impact that they may have and communicate that to them. Another important area is around program delivery. How can you track, define and track the programs all the way from the strategy to the execution, show, the planning, the tracking of activities, the outputs and the outcomes. Then finally, around donation management, being able to track pledges and donations, grant payments that once they're done, how to monitor how they're spent, and having an accounting system of record to show how the donations and the grants are handled. Payment integration, we see a lot of nonprofits enabling donations even on their websites or on their platforms. How can you be able to integrate that payment platform with the rest of the information that you're processing? Another key area is around volunteer management or community worker engagement. How can you help the life cycle of a volunteer from when they sign up all the way until they engage in activities, or they organize sign-ups, schedule their activities, assign them new tasks, onboard them, train them, offboard them. It becomes a very important part for the nonprofits who engage either volunteers or community workers. Another area is around monitoring and evaluation. So you track outcomes. Most nonprofits across Africa have M&E teams. It's one of the most important to be able to feedback around the outcomes of the mission. So how do you give results and measure that? And how can you predict that you can do even better during programs that come in future? Aspects around grant and award management. How to track results. Once an award is given, be able to budget it. As you mentioned, Olayemi, sometimes the accounting part of it becomes a very difficult part for nonprofits. So how can you manage the grants and awards and track it such that you're able to account for it to donors? The last area is around program participants. Give a 360-degree view of the services that beneficiaries have utilized, the relationships, and also it's handled in a case management kind of way, such that from opening all the way until closure, such that you coordinate services around providing services to the beneficiary, as well as coordinate, monitor, and evaluate the programs of the progress of the beneficiary management. And all this is done with underlying insights and analytics to keep improving for every cycle of program that you run. You keep scaling, adding more beneficiaries, and growing because of the insights and analytics you have by using the platforms. I think one commitment that we have, let me just go into the different solutions areas that we have. We do understand that the users, they're different in the nonprofit organizations, they're different key people who handle certain aspects, like around donors and supporters. We understand we have development officers, business development officers, or marketing managers. So these are the ones who would be key around fundraising, as well as engaging of fundraisers. And this is some of the capabilities and solutions that they are looking for around effective programs, as was mentioned, handling community workers or volunteers. And this, this is handled by people like volunteer managers or staff, by volunteers themselves or program staff. Then around accelerating mission outcomes, this is a strategic management role handled by business analysts or the C-suite or executives in nonprofits. And each of those solutions are able to address some of the capabilities that they are looking for. Underlying that, of course, is how the platform is administered. These are the solutions, and the last layer becomes, the interface that is used so as to administrate those environments. Some of them are, how the data environment. It could be the, the interface that accesses it. So all this underlying becomes a technology that enables you to access all these capabilities. And to be able to provide all the ecosystem of that solution, we of course work with partners to be able to deliver this together with you. As you can see, we have what we call advisory services, system integrators, independent software vendors, which stands for ISV, who deliver nonprofit capabilities to you using our different products. We have like Lagetronics is one of our strong partners in this area. And on the left, you can see all the capabilities that they would have to be able to support you on our different technology platforms to deliver capability to you as our nonprofit customers. And the different, this highlights as well the solutions and products that we have, whether it's our Azure, which is our platform, whether it is our Dynamics, which is our ERP, CRM system, whether it's Power Platforms, which gives the low-code environment to automate tasks, Modern Work that supports collaboration, the Teams platform that groups volunteers together and community workers, whether it's Azure, which provides a learning management system so that you can train your volunteers or train your employees or your community workers, or finally, whether it is the Power BI, which builds a program impact dashboard that gives visibility to all the programs as they are being delivered. These are all the products that enable these imperatives that are with nonprofits. So those form our Microsoft Cloud for Nonprofit solutions. And maybe to go a bit in depth around knowing donors and supporters. Would be around how do you attract, retain, and grow donors and supporters? How do you process payments in terms of even accounting for the funds, who to designate in management of the funds drive, or even the accounts that you're handling, and also how can you personalize engagement such that you drive more, through different channels, to provide the right content so that donors and supporters can be able to give more towards the mission. So this is a key imperatives. Around constituent management, you also need to be able to research for the right constituents or participants, as well as understand them completely. These are still your donors and your supporters. Understand them very well so that when you reach out to them, they're more likely to be able to fundraise amounts that speak along the mission that you have as a nonprofit. As I mentioned, donation and award management is key in terms of payment processing when you receive donations, fund accounting, as well as who is designated to be able to support the fundraising function around the nonprofit. So this is key for managing donors and supporters. Personalized engagement that enables key channel engagements, whether it is on LinkedIn, whether it's on the platform directly on email. So it provides different channels to be able to reach out to the donors and supporters and provide compelling content for them to give towards your mission. In terms of effective programming, we see sometimes it's very challenging to be able to, for nonprofits to coordinate staff, volunteers or community workers towards programs that are based on community needs. I'm actually in a public health conference as we speak, and in the healthcare space among nonprofits, a lot of community workers are on the ground to be able to deliver programs, healthcare programs. So sometimes we see a lot of use of things like WhatsApp to be able to coordinate those efforts, and sometimes sharing of personal information and the security platform becomes a big consideration when you're using platforms. So being able to coordinate on platforms that are secure and enables you to take advantage of the knowledge of your volunteers already is very key. By using things like templates, using a SharePoint site, enables you to take advantage of that to blast out information to the community workers, give them notifications, to be able to train them on the platform, and therefore enabling them to be more successful in the programs. Volunteer management, volunteer engagement opportunities enables them to, sign up for new tasks that you may have as a nonprofit, and making sure that they have the qualifications and requirements needed to fulfill the tasks that you give. Also, the platform, our volunteer management platforms enable onboarding, an onboarding process that has a checklist of the items that you need to be able to carry out, to be a volunteer with the nonprofit or be a community worker with the nonprofit, and also takes them through the necessary training program so that they're able to deliver your mission successfully. How to also improve the volunteer experience and the community worker experience. You want to be able to retain community workers or volunteers for long periods of time, or even attract new kinds of new volunteers by improving your volunteer experience. When they put in their profile, you're able to search. When you have new tasks to assign, you're able to quickly search for those ones who have the capability and reach out directly to them. And by enabling them to put out their profile, it also helps them make use of their talents and skills quickly in the tasks that you have as a nonprofit. And also in case there are new engagements, a record of past engagements, or having that kind of summary where they're able to see what they have been engaged on, how many hours they have been engaged on, any new upcoming engagements that they have, enables them to have a better experience, and therefore helps them even, they have a longer, they give more of their time to the nonprofit. So this is very key to support volunteer engagement. And also enabling them to have, also in improving their volunteer experience, it's important for them to view new engagement details, without having to reach out one-on-one with a nonprofit. Let them, feel like they can get self-service by looking up new opportunities to be able to volunteer, to be able to train, and even for future opportunities that they can quickly find them on your platform. So this generally improves the volunteer experience and helps them be retained for a longer period. Training is also very key for community workers or volunteers, so that they feel like they are more empowered to do more even as they continue to work towards your mission. A better understanding of the people who volunteer within your organization is also very important, to be able to communicate that to your donors, and also to address if there's any attrition, many of them drop out or churn, be able to address that issue as soon as possible, identify it and address it as soon as possible. So it's very important to have that record of volunteer journeys. On the last imperative that nonprofits have, it's around accelerating mission outcomes. And the important part around mission outcomes, understanding your mission outcomes, is by collecting the data as you run your programs. This improves evidence-based decision making and enables you to make much better insights powered by rich data. So it unifies data around fundraising, the program, the finance, the operations across the back office, and helps inform, you know, your next mission out, your next programs, you know, how to improve your programs for better delivery and for mission outcomes. So it's very important to collect the data to understand, you know, how can we improve, you know, how can we improve program delivery to beneficiaries by collecting the data. So unified data, as I mentioned, it joins the dots between the impact delivered to the program summary to the program impact, and, you know, communicates the back office data around non-profits to the frontline and to the decision makers. It gives a holistic and strategic overview of the programs that you have, the revenue you're collecting, and the impact that is delivered. And this kind of dashboards enables the strategic and leadership teams to start making very impactful decisions for the future as they continue to run programs, and also attract more and more fundraisers and donors to your organization. It also provides a way to self-service to fundraisers and donors, such that if they need to see something, you know, when they're looking for that data, they can quickly access the dashboard and see exactly how they, rather than wait for the newsletter from the nonprofit, they can check for themselves, you know, the progress of the programs delivered and the impact, and at that moment even work towards, you know, giving more for greater impact. One last area is around the security of the donor and program participant data. I think more and more as the world becomes connected, as we have connectivity even here in Africa, security of donor and program participant data becomes of utmost importance. And we support threat monitoring and notification, especially as you collect donations through, as the nonprofits collect donations through websites or different platforms. It's very important to monitor threats and, you know, just get notifications as they happen. We also provide security assessments for nonprofit organizations to be able to identify security risks and better protect the nonprofit. Sometimes we see a lot of nonprofits worried about utilizing the cloud. It becomes a challenge. So cloud optimization opportunities where you don't feel like you have a risk even by using the cloud, we can support that using the security assessments that we have. And just to highlight how this works, how we support nonprofits. So we have grants, offers, and discounts to enable you to start the digital transformation journey to have more impact and scale with the missions that you have. For the modern workplace, which supports collaboration within the nonprofit teams, we have grants up to 10 seats for Microsoft 365 Business Premium, and this comes with you know, the collaboration aspect of email, Teams, you know, Word, all the applications that you need, as well as some selected security components. For the lower SKU, Microsoft 365 Basic, we grant for small to mid-sized nonprofits up to 300 seats, as well as Surface devices are 10% discounted. This is only available in South Africa. For larger nonprofits, these are the kinds of discounts we give. Larger nonprofits are segmented as 300 and above users, number of users or employees within the organization. And we are also able to give grants and discounts around the larger nonprofits. As you can see, for a certain number of users, for basic entry kind of technology, we are able to even grant you for free, and we can work towards implementing that in your environment together with partners such as Largetronics, who can give you the services around setting you up for email and collaboration, setting you opt for a low-code like Power Platform to be able to automate some of the manual tasks that you have, or even using just using the platform to be able to do fundraising and engagement, as well as engaging your donors and supporters. We have a grant of up to a certain number of seats to assist you in that direction. For an infrastructure and application space where you can develop your own app, we give even grants of Azure for up to $3,500 to be able to support that, and also work together with the partner to help you build that competency to use the platform. So how it works, the step-by-step process of how you can take advantage of this. For one, you must confirm non-profit eligibility. So I will share on the chat the Teams link, the link on our environment, the Microsoft Forms link, where you put in the details of the non-profit activities that you do, and it goes through a validation process in the background to confirm that you actually are non-profit and therefore should get access to our grants, offers, and discounts, and kick off just digital transformation with some of the underlying free software that we give. Then you review where are the gaps that you're currently experiencing and where do you want to automate. Is it in how you handle constituents such as donors and supporters, beneficiaries? Do you want to automate that? Do you want to automate your donation and award management system? Would you like to do more around effective programming by working with your community workers as well as volunteers? Or are you looking to be more, have a dashboard to be able to give you just how your program delivery is going and improve on it? So determine where your gaps are, then identify which product is needed, capability is needed, as well as which Microsoft technology has that is needed to be able to enable this capability. Let's give an example, like for fundraising and engagement, you'll actually need the dots are what are actually required to deploy that capability, while the diamonds are like it would be a recommended, but it's not a must. So the round ones are prerequisite, like you'd need D365 sales, which we give 5 users for free to kick off a fundraising and engagement module application for you. So identify which capabilities you need and map onto if there are any grants, offers, and discounts we give for you to kick off that that system and that application to support your mission. If anything else is needed on top of that, you purchase. The process would be to purchase to enable that capability for you. So that's generally the process we use to be able to identify opportunities for the Microsoft Cloud for nonprofit. Maybe just to highlight, as I said, we are working with more and more partners such as Largetronics to support us and to support you in the digital transformation journey. And I'm sure they'd be willing to assist in mapping out exactly some of the gaps you have and how we would be able to support you better. There are certain links here in terms of the modules, the different Microsoft for Cloud for nonprofit modules that we have, whether it's fundraising and engagement, volunteer management, or program impact dashboard that you can go through, and we'll be able to share this in the deck after we are done with the webinar. Thank you so much. That's everything from me.
Thank you so much, Wanjiko. You had me dancing at the discount for surfaces until you said South Africa, and we Nigerians are going to protest till it comes here. So thank you. The offers are amazing, looks good. And I'm just excited to know that my big issue of accounting is sorted and is taken care of. We had a few questions from the audience from their poll while your presentation was going on. And I think we're going to take some of the questions and we'll be directing it towards yourself and Sean. Sean, are you still here? We would like to see you. Cameras on, mics on, please. We would like to see you now. So, yes, so one of the questions that came in is, how long is the discount going to last for nonprofits? So I think people are already excited and they're aware that there are packages. And how long does this last? Is this an annual plan? Is this going to be going through some annual renewal process? Do you want to take that? Or do we take all the questions at once and we will have someone pen it down, then you can decide which ones you want to answer, which ones we throw to Sean. Which would you prefer? Sean, are you here, please?
Yes, definitely, I'm there. So as soon as they start popping in on the Q&A section, we can then address them.
So are you saying we should take all the questions at once?
Well, just take them one by one, and whichever member will then answer accordingly.
Okay. Okay, so from what I'm understanding, just tell me if I'm wrong or right. What I'm hearing is, let's take the questions and answer them like on an individual basis. Am I right or wrong?
That's correct.
Correct.
Oh, cool. So, okay, I'm going to be directing my first question to Banjiko. How long does this discount last? Is this an annual package that you would need to reapply for every year?
Okay, thanks for the question, Opeyemi. Maybe just to separate, because what we have is grants. Grants are where we give totally free software to non-profit organizations, a limited amount to just kick them off the digital transformation journey. So grants are available on an ongoing basis until they're taken out. Sorry, I think I have feedback on my end. No, we are good now. So grants are available on a limited period, unlimited period of time until maybe Microsoft pulls out the grant from the market. So let's give an example. Then the 5 users of D365 or the business premium 10 users, those are available unconditionally until such a time when Microsoft announces if they are increasing it or taking it out of the market. Then when we look at the Azure grant, the Azure grant, however, is an annual grant. And even when we share the deck with you, you'll be able to see it's available annually, and you can renew on an annual basis. So those kinds of grants are available differently for different products. For the discounts, the discounts are available, until such a time, if Microsoft pulls it out, or in case they edit it, maybe they edit it. So currently it's ongoing. When you look at the discounts, there for nonprofits is usually between 50 and 75% off of commercial price, and we've seen that running generally across the markets for years now. Maybe until such a time Microsoft changes that, and you'll get, Microsoft gives good ample notice for you to be prepared in case that happens. So those are the grants, offers, and discounts that, as I've mentioned. I hope that addresses the question.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it certainly does. Thank you so much. Now, I'll be asking Sean this. A lot of nonprofits, from what I can see and the feedback I'm getting already, are excited to be on board this, and they want to know what's the how does Microsoft plan to engage or have a more, would I say, intimate relationship with nonprofits? Are there programs besides this one for nonprofits going forward to just like share feedback and say, oh, this is our journey, this is what Microsoft has been doing? How, in what way is this still through Ligatronics, or what other platforms and what other programs will be available to connect nonprofits with Microsoft?
Okay, no, thank you for that question. To be direct on this, we have a webinar engagement, and hopefully a lot of your NGOs and nonprofit customers have subscribed to this event. and it would be important for them to note how to go through this process. So you would definitely get in contact with, that side, with your Largetronics team. They will then further onboard you with a process which is fairly to signing up on the Microsoft nonprofit page. All the information is available there, which will then further prompt you for information that is required. And that's now to benefit from the further nonprofit for cloud applications. Now, the simplest way to get through that is let's look at what the actual organization requires in terms of Office applications. Yes, you do get the free Office applications as provided by Business Basic through the nonprofit program, but then furthermore, that the entire organization grows, they would have a bigger requirements. They would need security, they would need teams, they would need different applications that can enable them to further reach their mission goals. So that definitely is information that Largetronics will be able to provide the nonprofit customer, and the pricing will then obviously also be available to them. So the channel is very clear. They make contact with Largetronics, and then from there, everything will be enabled for them and to be further empowered.
Thank you so much. And now that you have mentioned Largetronics on and on, I don't know if I should feel sorry for them because they'll be bombarded very soon, but I am sure we're in capable hands, and I'm grateful for the introduction, for the linkage. And I think at this point, it's just right that we bring Largetronics boss, hear himself. Let's throw the questions at him, but we would listen to his presentation first, and we will continue with the question and answer series. And yes, Sir, Mr. Femi Adesoya, over to you.
Thank you very much. I'm sure we've had a very exciting I've had a very exciting time today, listening to Sean and Wajiko, and there's no doubt, I think, all the pieces of information that are required, I'm sure quite a number of us have that one in already. Actually, when we launched this initiative as a partner, Sean, I think that was probably about a year ago now, we actually started looking at prospects, within the Nigerian space. And we are so much convinced on the benefit. But, one of the things I like doing is first to do a test run, and we actually spoke to one of the NGOs we've been having a relationship with. They've been employing some high-tech products, but unfortunately at commercial pricing, and we spoke to them of some of the benefits. And for myself too, I really wanted to convince myself that Microsoft meant exactly what they meant in those presentations that Sean showed me at the beginning, and we did onboarded we piloted the NGO through the piloting process. We helped them with the application. The application, less than 5 days, was approved, and then we started now taking on the grant. We got them the M365, 10 users. They were all installed. We thought it was first a joke. Then they told me that, look, we have need for about close to 290, email addresses that they want them to be on their domain. We applied, and the second day the application was granted. We onboarded them on the Azure. Actually, currently we migrated their website, to Azure. We did the cutover just yesterday. We are currently actually building an application, as a kind of expansion, on the Microsoft not-for-profit. And what we're looking at that in the new year, we will be deploying SharePoint to basically migrate all the documents they currently have, on the premises, to the cloud. So for us, for me, has been, has proved to us that Microsoft walked their talk. And we had a review meeting with their finance team just on Friday last week. And we're actually comparing numbers, what they're going to save, moving from their current ERP application to Business Central. and we've been given the go-ahead, to do that. Actually, in the new year, we're migrating from the current ERP application they've been using for over the past 7 years to Business Central. So for us, and it was a kind of aha moment for them, because you have a much more modern interface. You don't need to worry about now, how do I get my ERP to work in the cloud? This is a cloud native application. The BI interface was like, had everybody, clapping. For us, it has been, so we've done this pilot just to convince ourselves that Microsoft meant exactly, what they have in mind. And from my experience in deploying ERP application, both for a government, private institution, the offering that Microsoft have on board, you can't ask for anything better. So for us, it's been a delight, to team with Microsoft on this project, and we are much more than convinced, and re-energized to go, to tell this, to preach this news, to as many NGO that will be willing, because I mean the offering. When actually we did the numbers for this particular NGO, they're getting from what they have applied and grant they have received already. It was worth well over $45,000 US.
Whoa.
And if you convert that one to Nigerian naira, you could begin to understand what that one will do to the bottom line of that particular NGO. So for us, this thing is real. It's something that will have the impact, like we have been, like both Sean and Wanyiko has told us earlier. They are digitalizing the operation of the NGO is something that will bring more transparency to their organization. It will increase confidence of their donor, because you can actually see in numbers. If you want to be sending reports to your donors, how your financials are, every week, every month, it's a no-brainer, for Business Central to do. That also that you can actually get the auditors of your donors to connect in and look at your books, if need be. These are things that are really very, very easy to do. So, I mean, not to really take much of time, I want to leave time for questions, but for us, I think we have a situation where I think the NGOs are in for a good time, in the country. There quite a lot of things that before were almost impossible, to do, engaging their volunteers, engaging their donors, having a good track, on their projects, on their program, how their volunteers are doing, giving timely report back, to all the stakeholders, that are interested in the operation. All the tools to make that one happen, are already here. And like I've been told, every year you can renew your Assure, well over $3,000 worth, of Assure credit in the cloud. You can't ask for anything better. So it's really been a delight, and we'll be very happy to work with NGO that want to take this conversation further. What we want to let them know that these things are real. And this is the best time to take advantage of this opportunity. So that going to 2023, you know that all the key tools and technology you need to compete, just like the normal business would do in the normal business space. Basically the same tool that you need. You want to keep your accounting record, you want to manage your donors, you want to manage your volunteers, you need a strong CRM that basically tell you exactly where you are, even where you have some assets in the field that you want to keep track of. The field services will enable you to do it. So for me, there's no better time, to get on board with Microsoft than now. So I think the message there for everyone who is listening, that this is the time, you let us know, you get back to us, and then we can basically assist to walk you through all the engagement process. And from the experience we had already, it takes a couple of days, once all the key documents that are required to enable you to qualify, we can share that one with you, so that we can start the processes together, and then we can, I'm sure by the time we look at the first quarter 2023 with you on board, and you see the amount of benefits, and efficiencies that have been brought to your operation, you'll be wondering why you are not aware of these things more than a year ago. Thank you very much for your question. I think the other questions will be very pleased, to provide answers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Femi. This is music to my ears. Well done. And I feel like this is incredibly brilliant. And I think one of the questions that non-profiters wanted to ask has been answered, and that is, what are the numbers? What are the number comparisons? You're saying, or you're giving this to us. Can we benchmark it? How much is the regular person paying, and how much is a non-profit person paying? But hearing words in thousands of dollars and coming to us at a ridiculous rate, I think that answers my question. And I think at this point, I am officially committing my organization to Microsoft, and I will be glad and happy to share my progress online and to share it with other nonprofit and to share it to my nonprofit community. And so we would like to have Sean and Wanjiku back online with your cameras on, please, because you cannot give us these juicy benefits and hide your faces. No, we need to say a huge thank you, to your faces, to say this is brilliant. And I think for we that were in nonprofit in this sector, sometimes there's that feeling of isolation, and sometimes it can be really difficult going to organizations to say, please support us. We're trying to have this system in place, and a lot of times we depend on grants to even have a structured system to track some of our progress, our reports, our accounting. So you bringing this offer of just lets us know that we do not have to break the bank or keep begging for additional grantors to achieve as much impact as we can afford. So this is brilliant, and like I said, I'm committing my organization towards this. And Wanjiku and Sean, we will be showing you our track record, and we will be working in touch with electronics and letting you know how this process goes. The few questions left are going to electronics, and that is, people want to know what will the relationship be like? Basically, are they going to get support staff to put them through? Would people have to come to the electronics office, or will there be a virtual interface? So that's the question that's coming up now.
Okay, thank you very much, Okwe. I'll let you know that we've been in this space for the past 30 years, basically providing services for businesses and government. We've provided solutions both for government organizations, utility, private businesses. So engaging NGOs, also we've worked with a number of NGOs in the past, selling Microsoft solutions. So after our eyes got open, thanks to Sean and Wanjiku. So one of the key things that we're trying to do now is to let them know, okay, that they are better, you can save a lot of money. You can actually spend less money, to get the same products, the same technology, the same competitive advantage that profit-based organizations are having at a fraction, of the cost. So we engage customers both online, both virtually. We've done some implementation practically virtually. And where we are needed to be on the ground, like when you are doing scoping, you want to understand fully the processes of that NGO. Sometimes a face-to-face interaction might be needful. Sometimes we've been like, this particular NGO we're talking about, we've been helping them with the HP server, which is about 8 years old. And a lot of time it will break down, then you have to wait until that is fixed. It goes to HP Service Center. I just told them about 2 months ago, by the way, do you guys know that you have over $3,100 worth of assurance? And they tell me exactly, what does that mean? I told them that, look, that means that you don't need to keep on spending money on this HP server. They said, how would that one happen? I say, very easy. So we provision an assure image for them. So practically we'll move, even the current legacy app, we'll migrate it to the cloud. People now, and they are in every state of the federation. That means that now people can log in. The treasurer is somewhere in Calabar, the auditor is somewhere in Ado-Ekiti. The guy who coordinated the finance committee is somewhere in Kano. And now we can bring everybody on board, to this at little or no cost. So for us, the engagement has opened up a lot of possibilities. So depending on the flavor or the structure, of the NGO, we can come physically, we have consultants, that we can deploy. If we need to fly, to those places, we will do. We'll sit down with them, understand their processes, do the requirement analysis that will be basically identify their pain points, what kind of structure do they need to have in place, what kind of technology that we can get from Microsoft that will meet their pain points. Like you have seen from the question that has been coming up, one of the biggest issues is accounting. And Business Central, it's not only a good, it's one of those best products, even for profit-making organization. And when you bring the same technology for non-profit space and at fraction of the cost that profit-making organization are making. So for us, we walk them through a project plan that basically takes them through looking at their needs, identifying their requirements, what kind of reporting need they will need, what kind of volunteers, how do they bring them in. Like, for example, teams, you can have your frontline workers that irrespective of where they are working from, they can keep in touch. People don't need to come physically to the office. So we can actually create a modern workplace for them, whether you are working from home or you're having people working in office or you're having collaborators in US, you can bring a virtual workspace that all of them can work. And all your documents are in the central place, you can all share together. So the fact that we can actually get them, someone in US, someone in South Africa, and here in Nigeria, editing the same document if they want to make a presentation. So we basically walk them through the entire process, or we do training to ensure that we basically holds their hand so that they adopt this technology. Technology is of no use, if you can't meet your challenges or your business requirements. So we walk them all through that entire process. We get them to go live, and when they've gone live, we also offer technical support services. Because normally, that the rate at which technology changes. I'm sure today, even your phone, you find that suddenly you might find that it might tell you it's downloading a patch. All right. You want to hold the hand, of our customer, the upgrade when their new technologies are coming into space, how can they take advantage of it? So we offer also a low-cost thing for their support, so that when issues comes up, when there are new technology to be adopted, when they are, you look at how artificial intelligence is changing a lot of things, like Wajiku mentioned. They can actually build bots that you can put on their website, that can help them with some very little thing that doesn't really require, and when you want to hand it over to a whole live agent that can help them with the process. So basically, we're in there for them. And with the kind of support we're receiving from Microsoft, is actually changing our focus. As an organization, we want to devote more resources and spaces to the NGO community. So we'll be, our gates are open, our arms are open wide. So let's have your call either by phone, email, and then you have someone responding to basically walk you through the process of which to take advantage, of this wonderful technology.
Thank you so much, Mr. Femi. What I hear is commitment, and that is what we need. I'm hearing that you'll be willing to fly to meet all of us, to give us the support that we require. I think it's amazing, and this synergy between Microsoft and the trainings is worthy of emulation. So as we come to an end, I would like to announce to all non-profiters that have tried to join in, or due to clashing events or due to whatever technical issues they might have, this event is currently being recorded and will be shared. So, and I would like to say a huge thank you to Sean, our first presenter, Wanjiko. Thank you so much. Knowing that you are in the public health sector is also inspiring, because, sometimes we feel technology goes above our heads, but knowing that there's somebody within the space who is also a testimony of what Microsoft does, and it is beautiful to see that it is relatable. So thank you so much, Mr. Femi, for being the person we can go to and trouble with all our technical issues. We're excited to have everybody here on board. To all nonprofit members, please send in questions after this event if you still have them. If you want access to more information, or you want to know how to get through to Microsoft services, remember you can reach out to the trainings, especially by the emails that were sent to you to invite you for this event. Please send emails across. You can send phone numbers. from the numbers you saw on the flyers or the email addresses you saw on the flyers or via your emails, please, we want to hear from you. Like Electronics wants to help, as you can hear, and Microsoft has already put these things in place. So I don't know if we have any last words from our audience and from our participants. And when I say participants, I mean from our speakers. Wanjiku, any last words?
So from me, I'm very happy we're able to deliver this to the non-profit sector. I think on our continent we have not taken advantage.
Unfortunately.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Okay. Good. I was just sharing, I think from the non-profit sector in Africa has not fully taken advantage of some of the technology grants, offers, and discounts that Microsoft has to offer. And we really, we are glad that our partners, Microsoft partners such as Largetronics, have come on board. Sometimes just to assist this kind of sector to grow digitally. We've seen digital penetration in a lot of other industries affecting our continent, whether it's in fintech, whether it's in healthcare, and I think is a good opportunity to solve some of the challenges we're talking about, such as climate change, other areas such as agriculture, those kind of inefficient ecosystems and humanitarian causes across Africa. And we really hope the nonprofits can get on board to be more impactful with their mission and even to scale their programs to, touch on more and more beneficiaries, because we know our people need them. Thank you so much.
Well, I would say from my side, I'm excited to bring my part to the non-profit organizations in Africa, because I see it's key. It's very key that they transform their organizations via this digital path, and they need the correct tools. And to have those tools available together with Largetronics and Microsoft, myself, Femi, the rest of the team, we can definitely bring you there. We can get you reach your mission outcomes, make you great, increase your donor propensities. This is what we do. So as a last word from my side, I'm very excited and I cannot wait to help further.
Thank you so much, Sean and Wanjiku. Thank you so much, Sean and Wanjiku. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ope. I can't tell you how excited I am. We've dreamed for this for so long, and it's happening. I think my request to both Sean and Wanjiku that let's do this again very early next year. I'm sure quite a lot of people have gone on vacation. That probably might be responsible for some of the, and I think a lot more need to hear this good news, that there's a lot of money to be saved. There are a lot of improvement in their processes that are possible with very minimal investment. And I think this is, just like Wanjiku said, a lot more. Adoption has been very, very low, and just because people are not aware of it. Like I said, we were meeting last, that was on Friday, we were reviewing your project. The guy was asking me, be honest, is there any hidden thing, in this? I said, no, I mean, this, because we actually did a comparison. We showed them the numbers. This is where you are currently, this is how much you are spending. A platform will ask you to move to, this is how much. He said, you must be kidding. I said, we're not kidding, we're serious. Okay, actually, Sean, you'll be getting my request later today. So for us, I think we need to spread this, to as many. So I'll just be requesting when we come back to ask for your time again. You'll be just have to create, make some opening on your calendar, because I think this needs to go around, and I know that and it's a win-win for everybody. It should keep on drumming the message that Microsoft is a caring organization, and for us too that they're interested in the well-being of everybody, not just putting PC on everybody's table, but caring for the needy, caring for those who can do with a lot of help. So I want to thank each and every one of us, especially for Sean Wajinku, Okwe, for sparing the time, for giving us the voice of the not-for-profit community, for a lot of our participants today, for taking time out your busy schedule to be with us, this afternoon. A very big thank you. Wishing you a very warm Merry Christmas and a happy 2023. Thank you very much.